Let's turn in our Bibles to Philippians Chapter 2, verse 1. And today I'm reading from the New Living Translation. Is there any encouragement from belonging to Christ? Any comfort from his love? Any fellowship together in the Spirit? Are your hearts tender and sympathetic? Then make me truly happy by agreeing wholeheartedly with each other, loving one another and working together with one heart and one purpose. Don't be selfish. Don't live to make a good impression on others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourself. Don't think only about your own affairs, but be interested in others too and what they are doing. So we're going to compare this passage to a passage that Paul wrote to Timothy in 2 Timothy Chapter 3. And here Paul outlines basically the total opposite behaviours to what he's asking us to do here. So in 2 Timothy Chapter 3 it says, "You should know this, Timothy, that in the last days there'll be very difficult times. For people will love only themselves and their money. They will be boastful and proud, scoffing at God, disobedient to their parents and ungrateful. They will consider nothing sacred. They will be unloving and unforgiving. They will slander others and have no self-control. They will be cruel and hate what is good. They will betray their friends, be reckless, be puffed up with pride, and love pleasure rather than God. They will act religious, but they will reject the power that could make them godly. Stay away from people like that." So did you notice what it said in verse 5? They will act religious. So these are people that are in our churches. These are people that are in our fellowship. But did you notice Paul's warning? Stay away from people like that. So over here in Philippians chapter 2, remember both these letters were written by the same person. Over here in Philippians chapter 2 and the last session that we just covered off, we talked about unity, to be of one mind, one faith, one belief. And here it's saying, verse 2, agreeing wholeheartedly with each other. So that's the idea, to have unity. But if we're not following verse 3, it says here, don't be selfish. So if we are being selfish, if we're doing what it's saying over in 2 Timothy chapter 3, if we're that list, there can't be unity. There can't be fellowship with people that are trying to go around and slander. There cannot be unity when people are unwilling to forgive. Now, forgiveness is quite a hard thing. When you've been hurt, it can be hard to forgive. But there is a difference between struggling to forgive and being unwilling to forgive. If somebody's unwilling to forgive, you can't have unity. And then it goes on in verse 2 of Philippians, to be humble, thinking of others as better than yourself. If you're going around and gossiping, if you're going around and slandering other people, you're not being humble. You're not thinking of other people as better than yourself. And verse 4, I think this one's really critical. I think this one really outlines how to not be selfish. Don't think only about your own affairs, but be interested in others too and what they are doing. Doesn't that just sum up what not being selfish is like? You care about what is going on in other people's worlds. You care about what they're interested in. You care about it because they care about it. And it's not only one-sided. You sit there and listen to them about what they're interested in, and they give you space to share what you're interested in. You give them space to share what God's calling them to do and asking them to do, and they give you space to share what God is doing in your life and what is going on and what God's calling you to do. And in that mutual sharing of being interested in each other, thinking that, as it says, thinking of others as better than yourself, and just caring about what is going on in each other's lives, when you're both mutually partaking in that behavior, you edify each other, you build each other up. As iron sharpens iron, you just sharpen each other. You learn more about what God is doing. You learn more about the character of God. But heed the warning of 2 Timothy Chapter 3. If people are going around and slandering, if they're going around being boastful, if they're going around and loving only themselves and their money, remember, the root of all evil is the love of money. So not money, but the love of money is the root of all evil. So if people are being like that, even though in Philippians here it's asking us to be of one mind, one unity, one love, if people are refusing to do that and they're being boastful, Paul also warns us to stay away from people like that. I don't know about you, but that is a really hard and painful double-edged sword. We strive for unity, but sometimes it's not possible. And we've really got to use discernment and wisdom about whether people are struggling with a sin and we can come alongside them, or whether they are being proud and boastful and arrogant and just having no self-control, being unwilling to forgive. That's the key aspect, if they're unwilling to be humble. It's the sad double-edged sword that we live in. But I really want to encourage you, as much as possible, let's live in unity. Let's care about each other. And let's listen to what is going on in each other's lives.